Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big Scrimbux leaks going down over the last couple of days as the VCT Americas prepares to get back underway. The final push now going into the playoffs and therefore, of course, potentially the World Championship qualifications as well. Some big results last night. Plenty to talk about. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, details on this year's World Championship. Of course, it's going to be in Seoul, South Korea, August the 1st to August the 25th. The tickets go on sale middle of July. So not a massive amount of time, to be fair, to get the tickets before the event. It's called the Inspire Arena, so you know, maybe Baby J owns it or something. I'm not exactly sure about that, but that's going to be the arena for the actual conclusion to the tournament on effectively the final stage, as we full well know how these tournaments go at this point. There's also these details on Ascension. Last year it was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the Ascension tournament in the Americas. This year it's going to be in Monterrey, Mexico, September the 10th through to the 21st. Winner, of course, promoted to the Americas, and then from next year that's when the new rules come in, whereas you've got to actually be good, and if you fail to deliver results during the course of the season as the Ascension team, you're going to get booted out. If you do deliver results, you'll stay in, and then potentially the other Ascension team that's in the league, capped at 12, they will be the one on the chopping block down there to either get relegated or potentially play some sort of play-in tournament. This just quickly, one of the first qualifiers to Ascension Tokyo for the Pacific side is Revenant Esports. They got the job done yesterday. This, of course, is the team with SK Rossi. So all the talk about global esports and the Indian scene over the last few days, this is pretty cool to see. The Revenant Esports featuring SK Rossi, they got the job done emphatically here yesterday in the Indian scene, and they are the first team to go to Ascension Tokyo to try and make their qualification for the Pacific for next season and beyond. Let's talk about some of the regions though around the world. Shazam says this the other day: O2 versus Lev, GG's well played to them. Wish I played better. It was fun to be back on stage. Now today, it was possible, at least for their upcoming game, he could have been back again. But as he says, looks like the guys got their visas, will be making it in time for the game. Unfortunately, this means I won't be playing the match Sunday, but I'm happy that they can field their full 5. Thanks for the opportunity, right? So yeah, Shazam, G2, still content guy, but he stepped in for MIBR, and sure, it wasn't absolutely a phenomenal performance from Shazam, but it was not too bad. I think Shazam showed that he can still play at a pretty decent caliber, and look, they eventually lost to Lev. This was, of course, that series in question where, you know, Shazam didn't have a great time, but, you know, it wasn't absolutely awful, and I think given the circumstances, he did pretty well. So I wonder if anyone will look at Shazam and say, okay, you know what, maybe there's something in that going forward. So of course they play versus Loud on the Sunday, and based on the Scrimbux we're about to see, that might not exactly be so easy for the MIBR boys. Maybe in hindsight it's not too bad that Shazam is not going to play in that one. This is just how things are going right now on the Chinese side, just to quickly look at, because there were a couple of results yesterday. Gen.G taking down Trace Esports, Nova taking down Wolves 2-0. So this is now how it's shaping up, and in every region it's absolutely unbelievable, really, the qualification for the playoffs. Funny that Edward, they're already qualified for champs. I guess it's possible they don't even qualify through for the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen based on their, you know, head-to-head, their map counts. 5 and 3, whatever happens from now on, should be enough to make it, I think. FPX, though, are going to be fine, of course, at 6 and 1, but in EMEA, we have these results. KOI versus Gentle Mates. Massive result here for Gentle Mates, right? Because they made that change recently. Seems to have helped them out to some extent. They also, though, had some drama with their coaching staff, as we'll see just about now. 13-11, 13-11. So complete ice, really, from Gentle Mates here to get the dub over KOI. And that's a big deal for them in region, actually. If we look at it right here, they are now sitting kind of in a decent spot at 3 and 4. Like, it's not over yet for Gentle Mates. They can still make it to the playoffs. And just to quickly look at their final couple of games, they play versus Foot Esports, which is not easy, and then Na'Vi, and also Team Heretics. So to be fair, they've got a pretty difficult run in, Gentle Mates, but it's worth considering. This was the announcement, though, that Existence, right? So obviously very well-known Counter-Strike guy from back in the day. He was coaching these guys for some time, and they basically got rid of him and are bringing in other coaches. Now, Existence actually commented on this and basically said, don't basically bother Gentle Mates. Like, they made a good decision. I would have done the same thing in their place. For the players, we need a new voice, freshness, new dynamic, so that they feel 200% confident. I think basically the implication was here that he was getting somewhat burned out of the process, of where he was going and everything like this, and therefore he kind of decided with the team on some level that it might be best for the team to move on, to go a different direction, and as he says, encourage the players, encourage the team, don't go creating drama. That's not what they need. So we'll see if they can deliver on that. The other result, though, in Europe was Fnatic versus KC. The KC team that was was terrorizing the league at the start of the season, but of those two teams that were, KC and Heretics, only one of those has really upheld that performance over the last several months, and this time it was Hero who really showed up, and that to me was kind of impressive, right? Because game 1 he dominated, 13-3 on the Haven, and the Lotus was dominant as well, 13-8. This felt a bit more like the Fnatic of old. Leo is out, Hero is in, and he's playing well. He seems to be getting better and better every series he plays as well. That is a scary sign for the opposition, and the fact that Fnatic are, showing glimpses of that old form was nonetheless impressive. Boaster in a nice little clutch that he gets the job done in, and eventually they close out the series in a relatively comfortable 2-0. Actually, very comfortable to be fair, and as Durka says, good game from the boys, amazing energy. Yeah, it just feels like they've got a bit of their mojo back, Fnatic, so that's good for them. They're going to make it to the playoffs, they're probably going to make it to the World Championship, and we shall see if they can reinvigorate their performances, right? Because that was all the talk after Shanghai, the way they went out of the tournament. Were they going to be able to replicate any of the form they'd had several years ago? Just quickly on the Pacific here, from last year, for example, just to quickly look at Talon Esports, they just 2-0'd DFM actually, and then there's another game, Zeta versus RRQ, coming up very shortly. But yeah, Talon with the 2-0 dub. I think in this series actually, just to look at the Talon series real quick, Governor on the full-time Neon that got the job done here, so 13-7, 13-10 on the Lotus, and then the Sunset respectively. But let's talk about some of these Scrimbux, right? Because over the last day or so, we've seen some Scrimbux start to emerge in terms of what we might expect to happen come the matches this upcoming weekend in the Americas, which we shall see a little bit more of in a second. To be fair, I showed them a few minutes ago, so maybe I'll just do that again. This is what's upcoming over the next few days. EG versus Furia, Loud MIBR, Lev 100 Thieves, EG Lev, Loud Furia, like lots of games over the next few days here, because this is the real stint from now until effectively the next week to determine who goes to playoffs and who doesn't. This is a big deal, of course, for a team like NRG. They are currently not in a great spot. They're 3-4. They play 3 games in a week. G2, Crew, Cloud9 in the course of basically 7 days. So that's going to be a tall order for them. Sen versus Crew. Every game here at this point is important because it's pretty stacked in the midfield. Crew at 5-1, Lev at 5-1, even Fnatic or Cloud9, sorry, at 5-2. They should be fine. But it's all in this mix really here between even Loud, and this is the thing with Loud. They brought in Pancada, they lost the match to EG, but if they beat MRBR, Fury, Lev 100T, whatever happens there, they can still make it to the playoffs, right? It's not over yet. If they get to 5-5 or 6-4, whatever, they can still make it to the playoffs. And according to some of the Scrimbux, that is seeming quite possible here, actually. This was the screenshot from the NRG versus Loud Scrimbux series, or just Scrim set, where Loud are up 15-4. So, look, I always try and look at the ones with more of a sample size. When you're playing 19 rounds, usually you're going to say, okay, there might be something in that. Now, we don't know the map, we don't know the situation, we don't know what NRG exactly we're practicing, trying to work on, but nonetheless, it's a pretty telling result in some sense that Loud up 15-4. You would at least think, because Pancada comes in, they didn't initially click the Loud's team, but you might expect that given a bit more time, they'll start to put it together. That seems to be what has happened, and look, we shall see in the matches, but Loud, it's not over yet for them, and for NRG, potentially a bit of a concerning sign. I mean, we had Sen up 10-3 against somebody else, Loud are up 4-3 against Cloud9, 100T up 4-0 against Sentinels, G2 12-2, but the smaller sample sizes, kind of difficult to say. EG having a rough time here against who even knows, so that is interesting. But yeah, the Loud NRG one to me was definitely the one that stood out here, because those are teams in some sense on opposite sides of the spectrum, where you've got the Loud guys 2-4, they need to be on the upward trajectory to make it back in. And to be fair, NRG, maybe they're in a similar boat in some sense. They've just made a recent roster change, FNS and Som have come in, and maybe now's the time they start to make a run, but on that evidence, maybe not exactly is going to be so clear. Just to finish out the video, I thought this was kind of cool from, Era put this together, inactive players tier list, because Marved is here in the replies. This is what he came up with, tier listing all of these players, and Marved in the S tier, Sick of course is in the S tier, Yay in the A tier, Demon 1 in the A tier, and you guys can kind of look at the rest from there. But I thought it was interesting really what Marved had to say on this, and basically was like, yeah, look, come on, Yay and Demon 1 have to be in the S tier as well. Like, if I'm going to be S tier, then certainly those guys should be, was absolutely the implication. Whether Yay gets a return to, you know, the professional scene. Time will tell. What happens to Demon 1? Another big question as well. But, you know, even there was talk about this, what the future looks like for some of these other players. Rocket Bullets here putting together the spreadsheets, and as Marved says, you know, missing 1 because there was no Marved on here. So he's obviously looking at his future, looking at where he might go next. Obviously off NRG in somewhat controversial fashion, really, the whole Marved off NRG stuff, just because there was, you know, the clip where he was on stream with FNS and it didn't seem like he was maybe it was FNS, I forget exactly, but he was on stream and it felt like he was maybe not absolutely as committed to getting the best practice as possible as he might otherwise have done. You know, he was up late the night before they were going to play and all this stuff. So there was some questions on that really from the NRG side. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he was gone. But clearly Marved, especially in his role when he's comfortable, is one of the best players on that role in the entire world. So no doubt to me that Marved should be considered, but the reality is, what teams are going to make changes now? Probably not. But as we see here, you know, welcome to Bleed. Is he going to come through? And maybe this is an indication from Marved that he at least has something in the plans that he's looking to work out over the next couple of months. But very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.